Avoid these common mistakes if you want to ace your next job interview. I tried some of the tips recommended by this guy and they work. So in this video, I'll be sharing every single thing you need to know about acing job interviews. Stop oversharing. I find that most candidates for job interviews are often oversharing personal information. Listen, the only personal information that a recruiter needs to know about you are personal information that is related to the job you're applying for, such as the professional organizations you're affiliated with, the professional certifications you've taken, and any other personal development activity that you have done that aligns you perfectly with the role you're applying for. Another mistake people often make when it comes to interviews is that they fail to study. Listen, anytime you have an interview, whether virtual or physical, this is an opportunity for you to study every single information you can lay your hands on about the role you're applying to and the company in question. This is because recruiters want to hire only the candidates that are best qualified for the role that they are advertising for. So you want to show through your study that you're prepared, that you're the most passionate person for that role, and that if offered the job, you are the right fit for the role. Another common mistake people often make when it comes to interviewing is they fail to leverage LinkedIn. I don't know why you'll be applying for a role and you have not still started using LinkedIn to get a head start. And by this, what I mean is, whenever I want to apply for a role, the first thing I do is I go through the company's profile on LinkedIn. I reach out to employees that are currently occupying the position I'm applying to, or that's previously occupied that position, and I begin to ask them questions. That way, I use the information that they provide me to enter into the interview room adequately prepared. So stop sleeping on LinkedIn. Begin to leverage LinkedIn for your interview process. Another common mistake that people often make during the interview process is to tell the recruiter the real reason why they are leaving their current role. No recruiter needs to know the real reason why you're leaving your current role. Whenever you're asked this question, you should always answer in a way that shows that you're leaving your current role because you have now acquired the skills and expertise that is needed for this current role. And with the current skills and expertise you have, you will be of immense value to the current role that you're being interviewed for. So if you had a fallout with your boss, if it was a toxic work environment, or even if you are underpaid, your recruiter does not need to know this information. Another mistake people often make when it comes to interviews is that they fail to show recruiters that they are in it for the long term. Listen, no recruiter wants to hire someone that is just going to be around for a year or 6 months or even less. They only want to hire people that are in the employment process for the long run. And so how you can convince a recruiter that you are actually applying in this role for the long run is that you need to show that you have been building a career path in this area or in this that is tied to this position that you're applying for. And how you can show this is that you have obtained certifications in this area, you have joined professional organizations in this area, you are gradually attending conferences, training, seminars, you're building expertise in this area because you want to pursue this career path for the long run. Another mistake people often make when it comes to interviews is they tell recruiters their weaknesses. And let's put this in a much more clearer context. Whenever a recruiter asks about your weaknesses, you need to paint your weaknesses in a way that it seems positive. So let's say your weakness is that you are not able to delegate adequately. You can then turn this around to say that you notice that in the course of your career you have actually struggled with the concept of delegation. However, you have since realized this fault in your character and you have taken deliberate steps to rectify this fault by beginning to assign monotonous and minor tasks to other members of your team that also have the capacity to effectively execute those tasks. So this is a way to paint something that would be seemingly negative or seen as a weakness in a positive light. Another common mistake people often make when it comes to interviews is when they are asked to tell recruiters about themselves. I find that whenever people are asked to tell about themselves, they often go to talk about personal details like where they're from and just ridiculous information like that. Whenever a recruiter asks you to mention or to tell them about yourself, that is a good opportunity to reinforce some of the skills, some of the expertise, some of the technical knowledge that you have that makes you the most suitable candidate for the role that you're currently applying for. Another common mistake people often make is they don't look the parts they're interviewing for. Listen, whenever you have an interview, whether it's physical or virtual, you need to show up looking the part. Recruiters form an impression of you the moment they see you, and so you need to make your first impression count. They need to see you and have that confidence that if hired for the role, they'll be making a good choice. So you need to show up with your best foot forward, smell nice, look good, be put together, be composed, and of course, wear your confidence anytime, any day. Another common mistake people often make when it comes to the interview process is they do not study their CVs. Listen, 9 out of 10 times I've attended interviews where I'm asked questions based off of my CV. And so if you do not study your CV, you're already shooting yourself in the foot even before you start your interview process. So one thing you need to do is be abreast of all the information in your CV. And one of the most common informations that could arise from your CV is so can you explain the gap period in your CV? So let's say you're out of a job for 6 months, 1 year, or for any length of time. Recruiters will be interested in knowing what you did during that gap period. And one simple way to explain this is to say that you were consciously or actively engaged in professional development in the course of your gap period, and this professional development should be something that is intricately tied to the current job role you're applying for. So listen, every single thing you do during your recruitment process has to be strategic. You need to be able to show that the skills, the technical knowledge, the conferences attended, the capacity you've built, every single thing you've done in the course of your career has prepared you to adequately serve the company in the position that you're applying for. You need to think like a recruiter when you're applying for jobs and understand that recruiters only want to hire the best candidates for the job. They want to see you as indispensable. They want to see you as a talent that they can brag with. They want to see you as a talent that would add value to their team, like a talent that would justify the investment that they are making in the talent. And so one of the ways to do this is just to show up prepared. And so when you're having a job interview, you just need to take your time to prepare in terms of your technical skills, prepare in terms of your composure, prepare in terms of the questions that you would answer. I always go through likely interview questions before I even start the interview process. That way, I sort of have this sense of composure and confidence whenever I'm asked a question and nothing takes me off guard. But I will also mention that some of the tips I've mentioned in this video are not a one-size-fits-all. So your recruitment process might vary, and of course the questions that you may encounter in the course of your interview process might differ slightly. LinkedIn should be your best friend if you're applying for jobs. And so leverage resources around you, leverage people, and trust the process. And yes, with that, we have come to the end of today's video. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please do not forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe, and also feel free to share this video with any job applicants that you know would find this useful. I would also appreciate it if you leave any comments or questions you might have based off of this video in the comment section. And until I come your way next time, bye bye.